Hello, folks, and welcome to St. Lawrence College. And it's so great to see so many folks joining us today. You know, as we begin, I would like to acknowledge that St. Lawrence College is situated on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. And may we always be grateful to live and learn on these lands. You know, at SLC, we're currently underway in our journey of reconciliation, and we continue to learn as we honor our commitment to respecting Indigenous ways of knowing and being in our communities and on our campuses. So today's webinar is going to be jam-packed, and we're going to be visiting all kinds of topic areas ranging from campus services to residences, student wellness, and making sure all of you are ready for September. I'd like to thank the folks that are assembled here today. They are our key integral leaders and members of our team that are going to help to ensure that you are having a terrific start up to our fall term. Hopefully everyone's very excited about it. I remember when I was starting my first term, and incredibly excited, nervous as well, but also very, very excited. So these folks, along with their colleagues, are really part of how we live our commitment to putting students first in all that we do. And, you know, as we go through this afternoon, I'd like to encourage all of you that are on the line to begin answering questions in the Q&A. That'll help us address these questions at the end of the webinar, and we'll get to those as soon as we can. You know, ultimately, this webinar and the information that's being shared is intended to let you know that we're here, we're prepared, and we're ready to help you get started to a terrific year. You know, as I get started, I also wanted to say that I too am a proud Ontario College graduate. And I really know that, you know, there's no better time to pursue a college credential. Our world has been changing incredibly. I don't think any of us could have predicted what has happened over the last 18 months. But one thing that remains the same, and that is the value of an exceptional education. And your time at SLC will be productive. You're going to grow and connect with folks who will help enrich you to a worldview while developing your skills and knowledge. And all of this in an environment where you feel welcome and where you belong. So enough of me. You came here to listen to these folks, and let's get started now with sharing some tips and insight to help you get used to what SLC is about and help you get started on the right foot. So we're going to start with our Director of Residences, Barry Kennedy. Barry?
Thanks, Glenn. I'll first off say we're really excited. The residence teams are getting ready on each of the 3 campuses. Next week, we gather with our residence advisors and start their training so that they're ready and prepared to serve each of you students as you join with us. Move-in days have been set for Saturday and Sunday, September 4th and 5th in Kingston. And on Sunday, September 5th in Brockville and in Cornwall. And those of you who are staying in residence, we would have sent you already an email. And in some cases, we've actually mailed out through Canada Post a letter to you, particularly those students who will have a roommate. We've mailed out in Kingston a letter to you so you have your contact information for your roommate and hopefully are able to check in with them. And the reason we do that is the room, that particularly the kitchenette area, is not necessarily designed for each of you to bring your own microwave, your own toaster oven, your own one pot. So we set aside the roommate information so you can connect with them early on and you know, decide which of you may have each of those small appliances. On move-in day, we will have sent you a time slot to show up on campus. We have security, our campus security partners will meet you as you enter the campus and lay out for you the traffic patterns, where to go, how to park, how to check in and register at the front desk, and then answer any brief questions. Our resident staff will be working on all 3 campuses to assist you, answer information, help you get settled in your room. And then the residence advisors will be there to, you know, for the personalized contact. You'll introduce themselves, let you know where they're at and how to get a hold of them. And just a couple of details on move-in day. Please come at the time that we have assigned for you. Certainly you can come at a later point in time. And for those parents and helpers that are coming, please do break down your cardboard boxes and take them back with you and recycle them. The environment's very important to us here at St. Lawrence College, and we would certainly prefer that not end up in waste stream. I'm just going to talk briefly about COVID precautions and how we operate in the student residences. Each student who is moving in, we have asked them to restrict themselves to 2 move-in day helpers. We have a full mask mandate in the campus buildings and certainly in the residences. So everybody who comes into the building is going to be expected to have on a mask, and that certainly does apply also to all of our staff and residence advisors. We'll ask that the students moving in have downloaded the SLC Safe app prior to coming in to check in at the front desk and have completed their self-assessment. When you move in, we'll give you your room assignment, your keys, point you in the right direction, and help you with any other information as the day unfolds. Masks will be mandatory in the student residences. We are opening up our lounges again this year, so they will be available. They're mostly study lounges for students on all 3 campuses, and they'll be available for students and group work. But masks again will be required in any public area. We have opened up again our ability for students to have guests, both day guests who sign in at our front desks and overnight guests. And overnight guests have a little more procedure around them. You'll have to fill out a form the day before they come and work with us at the front desk on that. So those are the general things that we'll tell you about to expect at the student residences. And we'll really look forward to introducing ourselves and meeting each and every one of you as you come join us for hopefully a very productive year for you and growth in your community. And I'll pass it off now to Anya Brooker, who is our Manager of Student Rights and Responsibilities.
Thanks, Barry. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm really happy to be here to speak with you on behalf of our Student Wellness and Accessibility Department. So there's a few important things I want to tell you to help prepare for the fall. First, our wellness services. This includes our counselors. And so you may or may not know that at SLC, we have counselors who offer free and confidential services to our students. This can be about academic or personal issues, and we're getting ready to offer in-person appointments again, and we'll continue offering virtual and online appointments throughout the year. We also have an Indigenous counselor to help students who self-identify as Indigenous. And we also now have a spiritual care facilitator, which is a role that helps mentor students about their spiritual health and providing a safe space to explore and connect with religious groups or just ask the big questions about life. And Student Wellness is working really hard lately to really provide something for everybody. So if counseling is not something that you felt ready for, we also have wellness groups. So these are offered online and tri-campus in person, or will be soon. And they're run by counselors or learning strategists or other experts on a variety of topics like stress management, study strategies, relationships, yoga, sleep health. And we also have, these groups are run between October and April. So once you get settled into your schedules, keep an eye out for those really great groups. And finally, we also offer therapy assistance online. It's our TAO app, and this is a software that offers different modules on wellness topics. And these are kind of self-paced activities that you can do online from your phone or from a computer, which are also really helpful. And next, I'll talk to you about accessibility services. So we offer confidential accessibility services to students who have a disability, a functional impairment, or limitation. And our goal is really to remove barriers so that all students have equal access to participate fully in their studies. So the way we offer accessibility services is often through accommodation letters, which is a plan which would be similar to an IEP. And this accommodation letter shares with your faculty member what you need to accommodate your functional limitation, but not necessarily why you need it. So this could range from a temporary accommodation if you have had an injury, or maybe a permanent accommodation due to a learning disability or something like that. And we're seeing lately the most common basis for accommodations in recent years has been mental health conditions. So if there's something that you feel you may need an accommodation for, really important to connect with the accessibility services sooner than later. And so our accessibility team can set you up with things like assistive technology, a learning strategist, or other accommodations like being able to write in a test center or having more time on your exams, or recording your activities, or having a reduced course load. And another reason why it's really important to connect with accessibility services early on is that one, even if you had an IEP in high school or you had accommodations at another academic institution, they're not automatically transferred over to us. It's necessary for you to self-identify and have an assessment so that you can get accommodations put in place. And then once they're in place, you have the option to use them or not. So if you feel like it might be something that would be helpful for you, connect with accessibility who are open now, so you don't need to wait until September, and get some accommodations in place, and then you can decide from there if you need to use them. I also wanted to mention our Sail to Success, which is another workshop being offered on September 2nd for students and parents, which will answer all your questions about accessible and inclusive learning. So really encourage you to register for that and to join us for that as well. And finally, just about vaccination planning, to let you know that we will be offering vaccination clinics on all 3 campuses. We're collaborating with public health in each of our 3 regions, and we'll be offering vaccine clinics either in the Kingston Health Center or on campus in Brockville and Cornwall, so that it's really convenient and easy for you to get vaccinated. Great, well, that's all for me. So I'm going to pass it over to our college registrar, Laura.
Thanks so much, Anya. Thanks everybody for coming today to find out some key information to help you be really successful. We're very excited for the fall semester, and I wanted to share a little bit of information just so you can understand where to find some key information on registration, your courses, just some logistical pieces. So one thing that you'll want to do is go to your slc.me. On slc.me, there is a plethora of information that you will be able to access. One of the key places that I want you to make sure you're continually looking is your SLC email. So there will be a link in your, we've got the image right here. There will be a link to your Outlook. Take a look at the Outlook. All of the different departments of the college will make sure that they send information there, next steps, and key information that will direct you to get your courses on board, to find out what your timetables are. You can also access a key place called My Hub. My Hub is where you will be able to see a number of different things, such as your timetables, your enrollment status, your fees, and if anybody needs to be registering for general education courses, you would have already received an email in your Outlook giving you directions on how to access that, and that would be via My Hub, where you can make your own personal selections for our general education courses. The next place that I know that everybody's very excited about is your timetable. Everybody wants to know where they're going to be when, whether your courses are going to be on campus, they're going to be alternate delivery. All of this information is available once you are registered. So in the next few weeks, our registration services folks are busy enrolling students in courses. If you go onto timetable right now and there's nothing there, don't worry. That's what's happening right now. So by about just before the end of August, around the 24th of August, most registration activity will be complete, and there will be emails that will direct you to enrollment services to ask questions if it's not already there. So you will be able to plan your timetable and your studies around that. Another key area is your fees. Most people would have already paid their down payments. Some people will be paying with OSAP. Some people will be paying their balance. The balance of fees are due on September 7th. If you're counting on OSAP, a process will be done in our financial aid office that will be helping assist you pay the fees, and that'll be done at the end of August as well. One other key thing to take a look at is book lists. So when you go into your slc.me, at the top, there's a band and there's under academics, you click on that, and one of the options that will pop up will be your book list. So it will tell you what you need to purchase and how you need to do that so you can prepare for the fall. So if you have any other information that you require, keep a look at your Outlook. There's all kinds of contact information, whether it be the registration services, your academic schools, or your book list. So you should be able to be well prepared for the fall and have everything that you need to step into classes. And now that's pretty much it for the program details and logistics. And now I'd like to pass it over to Ross McMillan. Ross is our Director of Student Services, Engagement, and Libraries, and he's going to give you some information on how to be successful as you enter.
Thanks so much, Laura. And I have a couple of messages for you today. First off, I'd like to speak to our incoming students. One is that we're so excited to have you join St. Lawrence College, and you're really choosing a fantastic college to continue your educational journey. And we know at this time in August, kind of mid-August, you are feeling that kind of the range of emotions, right? There's that excitement. Then on the other side of the coin, there's that nervousness or anxiety. And that's totally normal. For us being in working with students in our lives, in our professional lives, we know that's totally normal to feel. And what the main message we have for you is that we're here for you. And so for our orientation program, our transitioning into college, really there's 3 phases that we have set up to help you be successful in that transition. And one of it's happening right now in that kind of that SLC Get Ready. And that consists of several programs. So one of it is you have been receiving an email from us on a weekly basis, just talking to you about the steps to come to St. Lawrence, make sure you're ready to begin your studies here. And then we have a couple of other kind of really neat novel features. So one is an online orientation, an SLC Get Ready online orientation that you can take. And really that's kind of, you can progress on that, in your spare time or when you have a moment. It's basically go at your own pace. And it's a lot of modules you could read to just, get a sense of campus services, how things work. And it's really broken down to different subject matter areas. So really encourage everyone to do that online course. And then we also have some dedicated workshops for you. And that's our Smart Start program. And that's also coming up as well. And once again, just so you know, we've tried to make this as easy as possible. Everything's on a really consolidated website, which is stlaurenscollege.ca/orientation, or you can just Google SLC orientation, you'll find it as well. And that's all there to help you, once again, be able to transition. So after we do the kind of the SLC Get Ready piece, we also then have orientation day. And of course, orientation day looks a bit different than it has in the past. We have a mixture of on-campus orientation experiences for those that are having in-person classes. And then there's also going to be online orientation sessions if you're alternative delivery. And so that is on September 7th. By August 25th, the website itself will be updated and people will receive the communication about when their start time is for orientation. And what orientation day looks like is once again, it's a great way for you to kind of have all the resources brought towards you on that one day. And so what it is a mix of you're getting to know your faculty. So you're going to start off by coming to campus if you have an in-person session, and you'll be meeting with your faculty and maybe some senior students in your program of study. Then we're going to talk a little bit about how to be successful in the program, how it works, and provide you that kind of touch point with your faculty, which are key to your success. After that, there's going to be a service fair as well as tours, campus tours. I see campus tours is a question we've received. So there will be tours of each campus, so you to get acquainted to the campus and maybe find out where the cafeterias are and the different lounge spaces, so you get once again a sense of space. And then the third thing is there's going to be some fun. We know that once again we're trying to make the most of our college experience here, and so we're working with each respective student government to provide a number of engaging activities, which will also include a meal for you, a lunch. So after orientation day, we know that the transition, it's not just orientation and that's it. We know that there's a bit of a transition through your first term. And so what we've done is we've created a series of workshops under the banner of Surge to Success. Surge is the name of our varsity teams, and so we're all here to help you surge to success. And those will be workshops on time, on time management, on collaborative learning, on speed friending. We have a number of series of welcome events as well for communities such as our mature learners, our SLC Pride Alliance, and so on, and our first gen leaders. So a number of different events are going to be taking place to help once again welcome you and help you transition. So the other communication piece I have is around student services, and a couple things to highlight there. So first off, I've been so impressed by all the team, all the staff teams and all the leadership on what we're doing to get the campus ready for you to return to use the services. So that means everything from getting the lounges redone, moving the furniture around the libraries to ensure that they're ready to reopen, to getting our gymnasiums and our recreation spaces ready for you to use. And so those are all geared up for September 7th for orientation day, as well as the first day of class the day after. But the other thing to note is there's also going to be e-services still remaining for folks, right? So we know that number one service that I had in my area was a library chat. So that chat is going to remain for you to be able to access, as well as other units are going to be providing e-services as well based on the unit's needs and demands. The one thing I like to highlight there is every student has access to a checklist, a student checklist. If you're ever in doubt about what your next step is, consult the checklist. I found it, and I find it to be very helpful just to kind of go through each step to make sure that I'm on the right track, or if there's something I'm not sure where to go for financial aid, or what the link is for this or that. Going through that checklist is a real helpful tool for you to access. So yeah, I think those are most of my messages around services and spaces. And with that, I'll hand it back to our president, Glenn.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Ross. I was glad to hear that you said there's going to be some fun too at the orientation. So, it is a lot to take in, and I don't want folks to worry about that. There's, when in doubt, consult our website. It has all of the information and it'll point you in the right direction. But another sort of plug for orientation. I really encourage our students to go to orientation. We've found in the past that students that attend our orientation, whether it be virtual or in person, get off to a much better start. So that's just a piece of advice. So I want to thank Ross and Laura and Anya and Barry. It's incredible how much information you shared in such a short time. So thank you so much for that. And we're going to get into some Q&A, but before we get into Q&A, I just want to say a few words about COVID protocols. Barry alluded to some of this earlier as well, and that we will be requiring folks to mask, and that's all students and staff and visitors. And we will be, for those of you that don't know, we just announced today that we will be requiring all students, employees, and visitors to have their vaccine. There will be all kinds of opportunities for folks to get their vaccine. So what we're saying is by September 7th, you should have your first dose of vaccine, and by October 15th, your second. And for those of you getting vaccinated, we will have clinics at each of our campuses in cooperation with our health offices and public health, as Anya stated. there will be of course there are opportunities for folks as well that cannot get vaccinated due to medical or religious means, and there'll be an opportunity to state that. And for those students that do not want to get vaccinated, we will be requiring folks to submit a recent negative COVID test, and there will be testing required. So again, that was just announced today. And if there are any questions on that, I can elaborate on that further. But again, we'll be sharing more details of that early next week. So hopefully folks have got their vaccine or their vaccination shot, and if not, they're in the process of doing so. You know, our prime goal, our prime focus is to ensure the safety of you, our students, our staff, and our communities. So why don't we move on to some Q&A. We've got lots of questions here. I think I'm going to do the first question I'm going to go to is for Barry. And Barry, one of the questions that we have here is, what should students and residents do if they haven't received an email yet with residence details?
Thanks, Glenn. If you haven't received either your letter or your email, please do send us an email to any of the 3 campuses. All of our residence information is on the SLC, the St. Lawrence College website. You can navigate to the residence page. You also can call directly to the front desk. We have 24-hour staff on at the front desk in both Kingston and Brockville. And certainly during the daytime, please do call us. We'd love to answer and give you that information, and we'll follow right back with any missing information and get it back to you in a very quick turnaround.
Thanks, Barry. I have another question for you, Barry, and the question is, when do we find out our dorm room number and what floor we are on?
We assign the rooms in the days just before you move in. So when you come to the residence front desk during your assigned time, we'll have your room assignment, your keys. The staff will help you find the right floor, up the elevator, through the stairs, however the route is to your room, and that's the day we do it. The reason that we sometimes take, we don't hand that information out until move-in is that we're constantly making changes to the room assignments. Some students make last-minute requests for specific types. Sometimes we have singles or doubles open up that require us to move students around. So in order to make those the most efficient that we can and have the rooms ready for the students, we hand out the actual room numbers on the day that you move in.
Great, thanks, Barry. I have a question here as well about can online students get a student ID card? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. If you want a student ID card, it's quite easy to get one. All you have to do is go on the SLC website, search for Student Life or Student ID, and the information will be there for ordering a student ID card. Next question is again for Barry. What is the latest someone can apply for residence?
Well, we're happy to have applications at any time that residence interests you. We do have openings that come up constantly. Right now, our Brockville and our Cornwall residences are, all of the rooms are allocated to students on those 2 campuses, but we do continue to have students who make other housing choices and open up the occasional bed. In Kingston, we still have between 15 and 20 double occupancy rooms that are available right now, right today. If you applied this afternoon, we would send you out an offer tomorrow morning, and we would be more than happy to have you join us in Kingston. The singles are full at this point, but we do have a backup waiting list for the singles, but we do have double occupancy rooms ready to allocate to students right this afternoon.
Okay. Thanks, Barry. We'll give you a rest for a second. Next question is for Laura. Should I wait until the first day of classes to get my books?
You know what, that is entirely up to you. Many students do choose to wait to get their books until they come, but it's really good to be prepared. Some programs, some courses may have a lot of readings at the front end of their program, so you certainly don't want to get behind. So take a look if it's a heavy reading course versus maybe like a math course, it would be very different. But it's really good to take a look at your book list and understand what the expectations are for that. But the bookstore will be open and you'll be able to get them when you come on campus.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Question for Ross. I was online last year. How will I find my classes on the first day?
Thanks for the question, Glenn. So when you saw the slides go up, you may have also seen a slide that had Ask Me, a little speaking about the Ask Me program. So let me speak about that briefly. What we have from each campus is a series of volunteers or staff and student volunteers that are trained specifically to support students in those first 3 weeks. So that is our Ask Me program, and that runs from September 7th to the 24th. And what you'll see is staff either at the the front of each campus, at the welcome desk per se, or staff walking around with lanyards with very clearly identified signs that say Ask Me. And once again, those people are there to support you if you have questions, if you need some wayfinding supports, if you need to figure out where a room is or where your classes room. Those are people that are there to support you, during this critical first 3 weeks. So the answer is yes, we'll have staff there to support you.
Thanks, Ross. I'm sort of laughing because I've been in my role for 10 years and I still get lost sometimes. So anyhow, appreciate that. Another question, some folks are asking about lockers. So lockers are handed out by the student government, and from my understanding, details will be coming out very shortly. A quick suggestion, maybe check out the student government online and visit their web pages. And again, they are here to help you, and they have a great system for distribution of lockers. So that would be my suggestion for that. The other question is, we are seeing a number of our students, international students. So that's so nice to see everybody that's coming from all over the world. Quite frankly, it's exciting, and we can't wait to welcome you. There are a number of questions regarding vaccinations and which ones students should have, and those types of things. And we will be sharing details next week to help everyone that's coming from another country as to what are the required vaccinations and what is the required protocol. So our international folks have been monitoring this very diligently, and they'll be reaching out to you next week. Let's see, a question. Why was October 15th picked as a vaccine requirement deadline? Can students participate on campus before that? Yes, and so what we're doing is we're trying to provide a reasonable time period for students to get their vaccinations. And so the first day of school, well, the orientation is on September 7th, first day of class is September 8th. So we are saying that first dose should be completed by the first day of orientation, September 7th, and then a reasonable time period following the advice of our public health offices would be October 15th. And, the question about can you participate prior to that? Absolutely. Again, by ensuring that that you have a negative COVID test, and there'll be, again, more information coming out on that, on testing requirements and how that will be available. Question for Laura. How do I know how my courses are being delivered, if they are in person or if they are in alternate delivery?
There's a couple of places students can take a look. I did talk about the going into slc.me and going into timetables. On your timetable, you will actually see the courses that you'll be taking and the times you will take them. If it says a room number, that means it's going to be on campus, on one of our campuses. If it says alt delivery, that means the medium will be via Blackboard. So you'll be able to have the links, the work, and the integration through your Blackboard module, and the faculty will share with you what that looks like. If you're not yet registered for courses, because that's in progress, you can go to our St. Lawrence College website, and at the top band, there's a Fall 2021 link. You can click on that, and there's actually a Fall 21 program delivery chart, and that is laid out by program and semester. If you don't know exactly, because there's business accounting, there's business admin, if you don't know exactly which program or semester you're in, you can click a link to go to enrollment at sl.on.ca, and we can give that information to you and make sure that we give you the details you require.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Next question is for Anya. Are campus tours available before September 7th? Actually, it's not for you, Anya. I was just feeling bad for you. I haven't got a question yet. So this one's for Ross.
Perfect.
Thanks. I could ask Anya a question, but on this, yes, we know there's lots of people. I know you're eager to get to campus and maybe check it out before orientation day. Once again, just a reminder, there will be tours on orientation day, and that's really where we're going to have a lot of our energy focused to help students find their way around on that day. But we are working with the student governments to provide tours of campuses the week prior. And so more details to follow on that, and they'll be located on our orientation website as well.
Great. Thanks, Ross. Question for Laura. How do I find out what semester I am in?
If you don't know exactly, if you're just starting this fall and you're just a brand new student to St. Lawrence, generally you're going to be in the first semester. Again, you can email enrollment@sl.on.ca, and we can look it up if you're coming in with some advanced standing, and we can take a look at that, and your timetable should give you that information as well.
Great. Thanks, Laura. I have a question here about what is required to confirm vaccination status. When you enter the campus, you will be using the SLC Safe app, and it will take you through a series of questions. You will be doing a declaration of your vaccination status. Okay, so you will just be declaring what your status is. After that, you will be given digital confirmation if you have your first dose, or if you have your second dose, and that will be good for the semester, or until we get further advice from public health. So it will be declaration based. I do have a question for you, Anya. Do I give my IEP to my professors, or is it transferred to the college by my school?
That I can answer for sure. Thanks for the question. So no, your IEP will not be transferred automatically from high school or another institution to SLC. So it can be really helpful though if you have a copy of it, or you can get a copy of it before you start. And you can just bring your IEP to our accessibility office or email accessibility@sl.on.ca to set up an appointment to meet with an advisor. And then they'll be able to set you up with accommodations in the college.
Great. Thanks, Anya.
No
Next question is for Barry. Is there a checklist of things that students and residents need to bring?
Yes, there is, and that's part of the email that we've sent you out. It says what to bring and what not to bring, because while there's an awful lot more things to bring, there are still a few things that we ask you to leave at home. So again, if you haven't yet received our email, please do get a hold of us. Call us, send us an email at either B residents, C residents, or K residents at sl.on.ca, and we'll get that out to you immediately.
Great. Thank you, Barry. Question for Ross. How do we know where to go for orientation?
Thanks. So two ways. One is that this will be emailed to you and communicated to you in advance. So by the August 25th, it'll be updated on our website and also be communicated to you. The orientation, your go-to location will be a specific room on the campus. So in the past, we've had large rally type events. This year, we're going to be starting off with bringing people to their direct room. So once again, it'll be communicated to you, and as well as we're going to have volunteers the day of. So we're going to have staff that are there to help actually assign you to your room or walk you to your room, and point you in the right direction. So if if it's confusing on the maps or you need that kind of additional kind of support, we'll be there for you.
Great, thanks, Ross. I have a question. Will the vaccination clinics be for all vaccinations or just COVID-19? And the answer is that all of our campuses, it will be just for COVID-19. Seeing if there, oh, here's another question. Will services on campus be open for the fall? The answer is absolutely. All our food services will be open, and it's all on our website in terms of what we have, whether it's pitas, pizza, coffee. You know, we've got a full suite of offerings. Study spaces will be available as well. The reality is what we're doing is we're making the college essentially open the way it was pre-COVID, if that sort of makes sense. Ross, is there anything that you want to add to this?
No, just as you said, we're kind of there's a lot of activity behind the scenes once again to make sure the campuses are ready for everyone to come back to, and that's our gymnasium spaces, our recreational spaces, our outdoor spaces, the different lounges, the libraries. So you should feel like once again that the spaces are there for you, and for you to also access the booking of rooms, the different lounges, those spaces are really important in between classes as well to kind of connect.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be an experience, I think, the experience that you are looking for and that you deserve. There are some slight changes. Like normally we would have probably had 2,500 folks in our gym to start the orientation off. Obviously, we're not at that stage, and as a result of COVID, so we're not going to be doing that. But for the most part, I think you're going to find you're going to get an experience that you were expecting. Question for Ross again. Is orientation just for students?
Yes, so the orientation program for St. Lawrence College is for incoming class or incoming students. So if you're a parent or a supporter of or a champion of your student, there's another a resource we're actually going to be creating and posting in the coming weeks, and that's a parent and family and supporters guide. So that was once again through through that lens, ways that you can support your student.
Great, thanks, Ross. Next question's for Anya. Are online mental health supports free, or are they included in our student fees?
Thanks for that question. They are free for students. So all of the services I mentioned, counseling support, our online groups, our in-person groups, all of those are included. They're free for students to use.
Great, thanks, Anya.
For sure.
Another question, will international students who do not get visa applications before class be able to attend online? And really the answer for that is I would suggest that you contact the international team for all of the options that are available. There are a number of different options that you may have. And I know these folks are essentially dealing on with you on these issues on a case-by-case matter, because almost every case, by the nature of international enrollment, each case can be different. So they're working with each individual case. So suggestion is please contact the international office team. Okay, I think we are getting to the end of this. I think we promised you 3:45. It's 3:43, 3:44 now is what my computer says. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to register for today and to submit all your questions. They were excellent questions, and I'm sure there's going to be lots more that's on your mind. Again, I just encourage you to get on the website, look at the emails, follow up for those folks that you need more information on. All the folks online here are more than willing to help, and there are teams behind each of these folks there as well to help ensure that you get off to a great start this fall. So with that, again, I want to thank you. Thank you for choosing SLC And thanks to all our presenters, and wishing everyone a fabulous afternoon. Can't wait to see you in the halls. Take care. Bye-bye.